A warning to the radio amateur community. Unfortunately, I've had rather a negative experience with a guy called Gareth Cattle in Cardiff. His call sign is 2 Whiskey 0 KMU. There's been several insults and a total abuse of the Hubnet, which is I'm a rather very avid subscriber of. I quite like the Hubnet. The problem is he's got the infantile mentality of a 9-year-old child. He's about 38 years old, but the problem is his mindset. This is by a prison psychologist as well. About for several years ago, he got the idea when he was on the CB that someone was a paedophile and set fire to a guy's house and nearly murdered him. And I unfortunately got ravelled up with this guy. I bought the FT991 off him, and he was very agreeable, very amenable, but small traces of controlling behaviour. And it turned out, if you look up Gareth Cattle from Cardiff and you go back about 12 years in the press, there are numerous articles about him, and he did lose his sister, which I can only feel very sorry for, which is unfortunate, but I should never mock someone for that. But you will find that this guy, he gets too close, too friendly, and when you reject him or get a bit annoyed about this, then comes up with paedophile, paedophile, paedophile. It's the same old thing. I have to apologise to a call sign as well, which I think I'll do on air as well. Brian in Ridvelin, I get the impression I was misled by Mr. Cattle and got dragged into this, and he's what's his call sign now, MW6ZBR. VR is Barry and Cloycoid, so it's not to confuse the two. And I can only apologise to him because obviously I was misled, believing what Mr. Cattle had to say, and I am wrong. Obviously I was misguided, because everything he then said about Brian, who was a pervert, a paedophile. When I had a disagreement with him over some money, a very good friend of mine lent me to get me out of this problem, and Mr. Wall, who was exceptionally, lent me £500 and cleared the problem for me. But even after I've got proof of payment, and I have, and a bank statement, and the veracity of the statements I make are actually substantiated by articles which I found myself on Google and a Gareth Cattle Cardiff court. I do have downloads of these articles as well. So the difficulty with this is, just be warned, and hopefully other Hubnet users, which this is videos primarily aimed at, and just be careful. And I can only apologise to Ashley Burns, the BC keeper, as well. I obviously caused distress and upset by my actions, which I can thoroughly and wholeheartedly apologise for. I was misled by Mr. Cattle, and I, as an intelligent human being, should have known better. But I can only hope that they will take and accept my apology as a genuine apology, as it's meant, because I believe if a person is wrong, they should apologise. And if it's not done sincerely and wholeheartedly, well, it's not worth anything, is it? So, as is my intention today, to apologise to Brian in Ridvalin and Ashley Burns for obviously causing upset and distress to the BC repeater. I can only apologise for. So, if anybody doubts what I say, please look up Gareth Cattle in Cardiff Court or Gareth Cattle Cardiff, and you will find the article about Gethlegare and the unfortunate incident where his sister was killed, which is nobody's mocking under any circumstances. A sad event, that. But there is an account by his mother stating that when he was in prison for arson and attempted murder, he's got the IQ of an 8-year-old little boy, and he's got an IQ of about 64. So unfortunately he gets the wrong idea and the wrong end of the stick, which I've had a most unpleasant experience over, and I can only warn other call signs and other people to be very wary of. So Take what I say with a pinch of salt. Please test the veracity of what I say, and you'll find that the articles I state do exist. Otherwise, I would have to put allegedly, but I'm not putting alleged because these articles do exist. I don't lie. I have copies. If I can add these into the following video, I will, but I'm not that technical on these kind of things. So Gareth Cattle, Cardiff, and you'll find out some very disturbing things about him. And the article's talking about a bunch of CB fanatics who believe there's a paedophile in the house, but he's also stated a day before saying the guy owed him money. Bit of a similar story to myself, allegedly, which I didn't. And then he chucked a gas bottle through the window and caused £20,000 to £30,000 worth of damage in, I can't remember which county now, in Gwent. I think it was Gwent Police or something to do with it. I haven't got the articles to hand, but I thought I better warn people about this kind of thing, because it is one of these problems where I've had a really crappy experience with him, and phoning the house, pin orders, phoning the police. It's just gone on and on and on. I'm now sort of spending 2 weeks away through varied issues and other things, which someone has politely said it's not the way to get on in the valleys. So whoever said that, yeah, accepted, noted, and just leave it alone, which I am doing and have done. So it's a separate issue. It's got nothing to do with the previous issue or content of the video, so don't confuse the two. As it is, it's just 2 Whiskey Zero KMU. Beware. Don't buy anything. Don't get involved with him. Just leave him be. So HF users as well. There's lots of information out there, and I'm not going to slag the guy off. I'm only telling you from my experience of this is my experience of him, and I'm one of many. So just to recap, Brian, I'm sorry. I got it wrong, haven't I? Put my hands up. I apologise. There's also Wayne Lloyd as well, and for some reason he's had a terrible fallout with me. I suspect something Gareth has said. And what's his call sign? 2 Whiskey Zero KMU. If you get to hear this, Wayne, I'm ever so sorry. I don't know what I've done to you, but I hope you take my apology. But I don't know what it is I'm alleged to have done, but please take it with a pinch of salt, because it's pretty obvious. There's a lot gone on behind the scenes. So I'm going to sign off at this point, and sort of hopefully we can also learn lessons from my lousy mistake. Just be careful. I mean, just for the record, my call sign is Mike Whiskey 6 Golf Oscar Yankee. So I'm going to post this up here now. You'll find myself on QRZ. If you wish to post any comment about this, please do. Please don't be trolling and causing problems. I'm only saying it from the heart, something honest. And I would hope that people would take it in the vein and the humble pie attitude which I've come across here, to say that if I've made a mistake, I'll apologise. While I'm on the subject, I'd also like to point out that I have no attitude or a problem with the village of Cefn-Penna. 99.9% of the people in there are the nicest, most quality people I've ever met. It is just the 1%, and only the 1%, that I have issues with. And if I've come across as saying anything derogatory about the village, it's not intended to be like that. The village I love, it's a lovely place to live. And most people you encounter, on 99.9% of the time, are the salt of the earth lovely people. I have no issues. I like living there. So it is just the 1% of the antisocials, naming no names, that I have the issue with. Please understand what I'm trying to say to you. If I've caused any offence to people in the village, I thoroughly apologise and would like it to be known I am a modest man, and if I'm wrong, I take it back and I apologise. And any offence caused to you is not directly aimed at you in any way. The 1% of people who cannot simply just be socially responsible. So I'm going to leave it at that. Best regards and best wishes, but do watch out for 2 Whiskey Zero KMU. Gareth Cattle, now living in Cardiff. Don't want to zoom, you idiot.